Chapter 16: How the Book Buyers Saved a Campaign. The first thing one learns in selling books is that the easiest man to sell is one who has previously bought books by mail. There are certain occupational lists to which you can sell profitably. You can even, upon occasion, find appeals that sell to telephone and automobile registration lists. But the big percentages come when you circularize lists of people who have bought kindred books by mail. Naturally, therefore, when faced with the urgent need of quickly disposing of 40,000 traveling bags, the first thing that occurred to us was, why waste money trying to sell these to difficult lists like telephone users, when there are all those millions of book buyers offering a virgin field for a product such as this? So we rushed out a test on a score of good book lists, using the letter we were surest would work on a book buyer, an adaptation of the first letter we had used so successfully at the review of review on Wells' Outline of History. It pulled, of course. The same idea has pulled in selling lots, and houses, and stocks, and every manner of product. Get an idea that is psychologically sound and it will work on anything. This one worked on traveling bags. On a 1485 offer, it pulled 2, 3, and even 4% and better on some lists. It pulled so well that within a week after the results began to show up, we were started on a 2 million mailing, all to good book lists. You see, including what we had to pay for the use of the lists, our circulars in the mail cost less than 4.5 cents each. So even when we got only 2% of orders, our selling cost amounted to but a trifle over $2 on a $14.85 traveling bag, and from that maximum it tapered all the way down to $1 a sale. There was money in that, so much that when the 40,000 bags were gone, we were glad to buy an additional 10,000 and sell them too. Before the end of the short summer season, we had disposed of 50,000 traveling bags. And here is the letter that did it. Dear Sir, the enclosed special privilege card is worth money, so we have numbered it and limited it to your own personal use. If you cannot use it, we should appreciate your kindness in destroying it, for it gives to a select group of Pittsburgh men the chance to obtain, for only $14.85, a traveling bag which experienced men tell us cannot be equaled in a retail store for less than $20 or $25. This offer is not transferable. It is being made to a limited number of men in Pittsburgh for the reason given below. 3 years ago, after many requests from well-known men, a famous designer produced for us a wonderful new traveling bag, which we christened the Statler bag. Made of genuine English leather, beaver grain, and patterned after the finest imported luggage, this new bag won instant favor. Today it has become the biggest selling bag ever produced, a fact which luggage manufacturers are frank to admit. In this new Statler bag, you will find the most important improvement ever put in any luggage. It is equipped with 10 handy moisture-proof interior pockets, which give you a special place for each of your toilet accessories, comb and brush, shaving set, toothbrush and toothpaste, even your handkerchiefs, neckties, underwear, shirts, and collars. When you travel with a Statler bag, everything is right at your fingertips. You can pack your bag in half the time it used to take. Bottles can't tip over. Your clothes will not be mussed or wrinkled. There's a place for everything, and everything in its place. Now, here is my offer to you. In order to introduce the new, improved Statler bag as quickly as possible, we have allotted 360 bags to be sold to substantial businessmen in Pittsburgh at a very low direct-by-mail price. You are one of the men selected for this special offer. I would like to send you a Statler bag at my risk and with no expense to you. I want you to keep it for a full week's free trial. Actually take it with you on a trip. Enjoy its amazing convenience. Delight in its fine appearance. After you have used the bag a full week free, send it back at my expense if you are willing to give it up. But if you like it so well that you don't want to part with it, you can send me, not the high price you would pay in a retail store, but only $14.85, my low direct-by-mail price on these 360 bags. Remember, there is no sale, no obligation to keep the Statler bag until you have tried it out for a week and are satisfied. Just let us send the bag. But remember, too, that bargains like this will be snapped very quickly, and we have allotted only 360 bags to the city of Pittsburgh. So use your special privilege card now while it saves you time and money. Yours for mutual service. P.S. I believe you are likely to know some of the Pittsburgh men who have already purchased Statler bags. When men like these use the Statler, you can realize it must be a bag of supreme quality. Honorable Joseph C. Buffington, Judge of the U.S. Circuit Court, Pittsburgh. H.F. Boxtos, Asset Treasurer, the Carnegie Steel Company, Pittsburgh. James C. Gray, President of the Standard Chemical Companies, Pittsburgh. Norman Wilson Storer, noted electrical engineer, Westinghouse Electric Co. Pittsburgh. B. Jones Jr., President, the Jones and Laughlin Steel Company, Pittsburgh. E. D. McCafferty, Asset Sec, H. J. Heinz Company, Pittsburgh. That little matter disposed of. We got busy on the raincoats. Having more time for these and having satisfied the powers that be that book lists were a gold mine for their product, we were able to test half a dozen different letters and pick the one that pulled best. Curiously enough, that was one along lines I had never tried before, nor seen tried by anyone else. I had read somewhere the account of a manager whose company had been at swords points with a certain competitor for years. It was very much to the interest of this man's company that the two should get together, but no one had ever been able to heal the breach. Finally, it occurred to him one day that the man we feel most kindly towards is the one we have just done a favor. So he went to see his competitor and asked the rival manager if he would do him a favor. Certain of their customers were taking advantage of their terms. It had to be stopped, but he didn't know how to do it without incurring their ill will. The other manager was more experienced than he. Would he not do him the favor of telling him how he handled similar cases? The rival manager opened up like a rose to the morning sun, and their little talk started a friendship that quickly healed the breach between the two companies. Well, it occurred to us that there was sound psychology back of the first manager's action, and it ought to work with letters as well as in person, in overcoming indifference as well as enmity. So we tried it on our raincoat letter. It proved one of the most effective appeals we ever had. We have used a dozen variations of it since on a score of different products. On the raincoats, it pulled so well that during September and October, we disposed of not only all the leftovers from the previous spring, but some 20,000 additional coats besides. At a goodly profit, too, for again we got 2 and 3% in better returns, on a product selling for $18.75. Here is the favor letter that did the trick. Dear client, will you do me a favor? For 12 years now, we have been selling the famous Keep Dry coat direct to the consumer at a saving of many dollars from the usual retail price. This year, I want to vary our line a bit, so I have changed the fabric to one that looks like a smart top coat, but will still shed rain. And instead of the usual double-breasted raincoat model, I'm using a single-breasted top coat model that appeals to men because it has style and yet retains that loose, comfortable look of the well-tailored light overcoat. I believe that anyone who ever gets out in stormy or wet weather will like this any-weather coat better than any raincoat or top coat he can buy. But you know how it is in merchandising. You can never be sure of such things until after you have sunk a lot of money in them. Which brings me to the favor. I want to make sure of the demand, or lack of demand, before we sink too much money in this new coat. So I've come to you as a customer of the house. Will you try out one of these new any-weather top coats for me for a week? Wear it. See how it feels, how it looks, how it compares with top coats you have bought at $25 or $30. Above all, how it keeps out wind and rain. And then write me? Needless to say, I'll send you a coat you can be proud to wear anywhere. A coat that will fit you as though made to measure by your own tailor. I can do it, because we have so much greater a range of sizes than any retail store. Where the retailer carries coats in half a dozen sizes and only one length, we have 57 different sizes and 5 different coat lengths. More than that, where the ordinary raincoat or top coat serves but one purpose, this new any weather is top coat, motor coat, sport coat, and raincoat. All in one. It can be worn on every occasion that a light overcoat is used, and in a heavy downpour as well. Every man needs a coat like this for rainy days, for chilly nights, for auto rides. Stormy days will never again mean chills and colds and ruined clothes if you wear an any-weather coat. It will protect your health and your clothes, yet keep you looking and feeling as smartly dressed as ever. But I did not start out with the idea of selling you the coat. I just want to satisfy you that it is one you will be proud to wear anywhere, in any company, in any weather. If you will fill in the 3 simple measurements called for on the enclosed card, I'll get one of these new any weather coats off to you at once by prepaid parcel post to be worn for a week at my risk and expense, free. At the end of the week, if you should like the coat so well that you want to keep it, you can pay. Not the $25 or $30 that you are accustomed to paying for coats in stores, not even our low direct-to-the-user keep dry price of $16.85, but our special introductory price to you, only $14.85. Otherwise, just send it back at our expense, and in payment for the week's wear, tell me frankly your honest opinion of the coat and its saleability. Naturally, I'm not making offers like this to everyone, so whether you accept it or not, I should feel obliged if you would return the card so as to ensure against its falling into other hands. Naturally, too, your opinion will be of value to me only if I get it now, before the fall season has really opened, before we are definitely committed for any great quantity of these new all-weather coats. Won't you therefore fill in the 3 simple measurements on the card tonight if you can, and mail it? On second thought, better mail it right away, while you have it in your hand, so there will be no chance of forgetting it. I thank you for your courtesy. Yours for mutual cooperation. You will notice it could just as easily be used to sell books, or shirts, or blankets, or some commodity you are interested in. You see, the product is of minor importance. There was scarcely a man in the whole place who did not know more about raincoats than one. But it was not raincoats we were selling, it was an idea. In this case, the idea that by specializing on one grade of coat, one cloth, one style, and making it in every conceivable size, we could not only save you money, but give you a better coat and a more perfect fit than you could get at double the price in stores. We did not need to know anything about coat manufacturers to convince you of that. All we needed to understand was human reactions to certain ideas, and these are what we studied. They worked so well on raincoats that we felt emboldened to try a different tack on the overcoats, selling a real reason for their low price, rather than depending on the price itself to bring in the orders. We have since found that to be one of the most important essentials in selling, to give a convincing reason why you are able to make a lower price than your competitor. Mere reductions are not enough. There are too many ways of skimping on quality and taking it out in a bargain price. You must have a logical reason why your price is low. The reason given in the letter that follows was true, and it must have sounded convincing, for it sold some 21,000 overcoats in about 2 months' time, at a cost of $28.75 apiece. A few special ones sold as high as $47, but these were for a new idea we were testing. Here's the letter. Dear businessman, you know how most factories are. Busy and working overtime 8 or 10 months of the year, and practically idle the rest. And those lean months, like the famines of ancient Egypt, eat up most of the profits of the fat ones. This year we determined to change that. Instead of letting the woolen mills lie idle during January, February and March, we kept them busy weaving the new double-texture, pure wool fabric for keep-warm ulsters. Instead of letting the tailors twiddle their thumbs during June, July, and August, we kept them busy making up this fine-quality cloth into the finished coats for winter, figuring that the low price we could make on these would soon clear out this surplus output. The result is that instead of the prices ranging as high as $47, at which we used to sell these keep-warm ulsters in former years, instead of the high prices that customers tell us coats of similar quality would cost them in stores, we can now offer you the new, improved, keep warm, distinctive in material and design, correctly tailored in every detail, and as smart as an English greatcoat for only $28.75. You know how important it is to get just the right kind of overcoat for those bleak, raw days that start in November and continue right through to sleety March. Neither snow nor sleet, bitter cold or sunny days matter to the man who wears a keep warm ulster. It's the kind of greatcoat for any kind of fall or winter weather. You see, that's where the pure double texture wool comes in. The shocks of sudden weather changes cannot penetrate it. Comfortable on mild days because of its lightness, cozy and snug in zero weather because the pure wool repels cold. It keeps your body warmth in, and it keeps the cold out. Made in a model that appeals to men because it has style, it yet retains that loose, comfortable look of the well-tailored ulster coat. And it's lined with genuine Skinner satin in the sleeves and shoulders, because the smooth satin makes it easy to put on and easy to slip out of. You can wear it all day long without having your shoulders sag or ache. Just the kind of coat that a man wants for fall and winter wear. All over the country, men who like to be well dressed at all times, men like Colonel Ashburn of the Military Academy at West Point, Governor Holcomb of Connecticut, Chief Justice Teller of the Colorado Supreme Court, and A.E. Barker, purchasing agent of the J.P. Morgan and Company, are taking to this distinctive keep warm ulster in place of the ordinary overcoat. Why, in the past few years, we have sold more than 42,000 of them. And every day brings us letters read this from Charles M. Robinson, Esquern, counselor at law of New Haven, Connecticut. An ulster equal to this one would have cost me at least $50 in a retail store. I have found it to be very warm and its wearing qualities excellent. And this fall's model is better far, we believe, than any we have ever before offered. Bargains such as this will, of course, be snapped up quickly. Our output this fall is absolutely limited to 19,961 keep warm ulsters, and among our more than 250,000 customers, they won't last long. While they last, you can get one of these latest models, Smart, new greatcoats for only $28.75. As fine a quality and a better style than any we sold in the past for as high as $47. What is more, you can see it, examine it, wear it for a week at our risk and expense without 1 cent of payment. Merely fill in the simple measurements on the enclosed card and drop it in the mail. We'll do the rest. Fair enough, you'll admit. And you realize that we couldn't make such an offer if we didn't know that these new keep warms will back it up. But we do know it, so we're entirely willing to do our part. Are you willing to put us to the test? Just mail the card, then sit back and watch results. We're waiting. That ended the regular sale. We had 800 or 900 coats left in odd sizes and colors, so we went back to the book business again and borrowed from it our old damaged set letter. Of course, there was nothing damaged about the coats, but the odd sizes and colors furnished just as good an argument, and, as it proved, just as effective bait in landing orders. For instead of the 800 or 900 orders needed to clean up our stock, we landed close to 10,000. That was no hardship, you can be sure. For the factory had any number of odds and ends of piece goods on hand, and they were delighted to make them up into coats. At a goodly reduction in cost, too. Here is that old book letter, as adapted to selling odds and ends of overcoats. $7.90 leftover ulsters at a big discount. Dear Sir, in the rush and excitement of selling, in the past 2 months, 21,000 keep warm winter ulsters, there was no time to pay attention to exactly how sizes and colors were running. The result is that now, with the season near its end, we find ourselves with 790 coats left over, in all sizes, but without a complete range of sizes in any one color. There are dark grays and blues and beautiful brown heather mixtures, in greatcoats that we sold in the past all the way up to $47. Really handsome colors, all of them. But we can't be sure which color is here in the exact size that will fit you. And you know how the overcoat season is. If these ulsters are not all disposed of before Christmas, some of them will probably be on our hands until next fall. So rather than carry any of them over until then, we have decided to make one sweeping reduction and offer these 790 smart, distinctive, beautifully tailored greatcoats of fine, warm, double-texture pure wool cloth for only $27.65. This is the lowest price we have ever made on these all-wool, keep-warm ulster coats. Just try to find their equal in style and workmanship in fine quality material for $40 or $50. Only 790 coats left. We have just 790 of these double texture all-wool greatcoats to sell at this low price. When they are gone, your chance to save on our winter ulster will go with them. But while these 790 last, you can get as perfect fitting, as good looking, as fine quality a winter greatcoat as ever you would want to wear at an almost unheard of bargain. If you will just write your name and 3 simple measures on the enclosed card and mail to us, we will send you a Keep Warm ulster that will exactly fit you by prepaid parcel post. You may keep the overcoat for a full week. Then, if for any reason at all you don't care to keep the coat, you can send it back at our expense. But if you are so well pleased with it that you don't want to part with it, just send us $27.65, the low price at which we are offering these last remaining 790 coats. Send no money. Simply mail the postcard, but do it at once as this opportunity to save money will not occur again. Yours up to $7.90. Notice how readily the idea adapts itself to overcoats, just as though it had never been used for anything else. That is my experience of most basic ideas. If they are good for selling one product, they can be adapted to selling almost any other product. Notice, too, how simple was the form of circular. This, of course, was intentional to carry out the idea of there being so few coats left in stock that it was not worthwhile to print an elaborate circular to describe them. One of the questions often asked of me is, what did you do to keep your customer sold after you had received his order? An important question, for everyone has experienced the reaction that so often comes after you have allowed yourself to be persuaded into signing an order or sending for something by mail. You feel that maybe you were too precipitate and begin to look around for ways in which you can back out. We met that problem by using every opportunity to resell the customer on his purchase. In acknowledgement letters, in bills, in the enclosure that went with each product, we had in mind the truism that the sale is not made until the goods are paid for, so we tried to put salesmanship into each of these. Here's a sample of one of them, the enclosure that went with the overcoat and was seen even before the overcoat was uncovered. Dear client, a man has to be well dressed these days, correctly dressed, and correctly dressed means conservatively dressed, dressed in accordance with the standards set by men of high repute. One underlying thought has always been back of every keep warm ulster we have sold, one of correctness as well-groomed men express and endorse it. Keep warm ulsters are made for the man who seeks well-styled, conservative clothes with good wearing qualities and finest workmanship, rather than the ultra-fashionable styles that appeal to some men. Our merchandising policy, buying, selling, and advertising, is controlled by this correctness idea. You can wear the keep warm ulster we are sending you with the comfortable assurance of being well-dressed, of knowing that your coat is a part of you and that it expresses you at your best. Sincerely yours, P.S. A customer often writes us that some friend wants a coat exactly like the one he bought of us. So we have printed a friend's order blank on the back of this folder. There is only one condition attached to it. It should come in right away to get the advantage of the low $27.85 price. Of course, these were not the only offers we mailed during those 7 months. They were the highlights. In addition, we sold tires, shirts, underwear, ties, and a dozen other items, but the sale of none of these reached the proportions of the traveling bags and coats. Shirts came nearest to it. In fact, later on, shirts came to be one of our biggest sellers. We shall touch upon them in the next chapter, for our mailing on shirts during that first fall was more in the nature of a test than a separate mailing. It showed such promise, however, that we decided to make a big mailing on it in the spring. Tires sold reasonably well, but their margin of profit was so narrow that we never went after that business in a big way. Here is one of the successful letters we did use. Mr. Car Owner, enclosed fine check for 25% of your tire bill. If we said at the beginning of this letter that we were enclosing our check for $3 or $12, you would be interested and doubtless highly pleased. You would certainly read on to see why we were so liberal. Instead of an actual check, we'll tell you in a few words how you can save that amount of money on every tire you use. One of the oldest firms in the rubber business, a factory which makes tires that are as good as any in the world, wants to see if car owners will buy their tires direct, if he will sell to them at just about the price dealers now pay. This tire manufacturer knows that such a saving can be made if a lot of unnecessary selling expense and middlemen's profits are wiped out. So he's going to test out the American motoring public by offering the very best tires he makes, direct to car owners through our selling organization, which operates by mail all over the country. And to quickly find out if men really want to save 25% on the best tires that can be made, he is having us rush out this August letter to a few selected car owners. If the response to this advertising is not tremendously large, the manufacturer's plan will be discontinued immediately. That would be too bad from a money-saving point of view, but it will show that people would rather continue buying tires in the old way, even at higher prices. On the other hand, if the response is large, this plan of sending tires direct to the user by parcel post will be continued, and you can always get your tires through us at a great big saving. This is a free trial offer. If you mail the enclosed card at once, we'll send you at our own risk and expense one or more tires for a week's free examination. You can measure them, heft them, and compare them for bigness and strength and resiliency with any tire you know. See if you recognize their make. There's no better cord tire in America today. At the end of the week, if you're satisfied that they're as fine tires as ever you've seen, you can send us the low direct-to-the-user price given on the inside of this letter. Otherwise, just send them back at our expense. There's only one condition to this offer. You must take advantage of it at once. For naturally, the results of this experiment in direct selling will be of use to our manufacturer only if he can follow them up promptly, while the heavy driving season is still on in August and September. Naturally, too, since everything is on credit. No express collect, no cash in advance. We had to carefully select the people to whom this free trial offer is being made. So if you cannot use the enclosed card, we should feel obliged if you would either return or destroy it. Returning the postcard without delay, regardless of whether your answer is yes or no, will be an act of courtesy that will be personally appreciated by the president of one of America's oldest 1857 rubber companies. Very truly yours. P.S. To keep him from getting in wrong with jobbers and dealers and garages while this test is being made, the manufacturer is making just a slight change in the tread design on his tire and is having the sidewalls show up the name of the tires as New Process Supercord instead of using his own well-known name. But the tires are absolutely identical in construction with the very best and largest cord tires that this noted manufacturer makes. You will recognize their high quality and maybe their manufacturer as soon as you see them. The last offer of the season was our Christmas mailing. It was the only mailing of the year in which we offered a choice of a variety of different products, and for that reason, it was about the least successful of all. For here is a strange fact, which has held consistently throughout all my experience in selling by mail. If you offer one article, you will get twice as many orders as if you offered a choice of 2 or more articles. You see, making a choice involves hesitation. And in selling by mail, the customer who hesitates is lost to you. I have seldom known that rule to fail. Even in giving free premiums, we found that offering the customer a choice of 2 or more premiums cut the orders in half. So, I have always been an advocate of selling one thing at a time. A traveling bag or a coat or a set of shirts at a unit price for the lot. But at Christmas time, I was overruled. All the others felt that we would get more orders by offering a big variety of gifts. In later years, we learned differently. But this time, we made up a little catalog and offered a choice of any or all the articles in it. It did not pull nearly as well as our single product offers, but it paid. Here is the letter and booklet. Dear customer, Christmas comes in just a few weeks, and if I know anything about daddies, husbands, uncles, and big brothers, that means something to you. May I help you pick out suitable gifts for your family and friends? Right here in your hand is a little booklet just crammed with good things that men of all ages appreciate. Fine shirts of madras, flannel or English broadcloth, neckties, bathrobes, hosiery of fine silk or warm wool, golf balls, books, etc. Then for your wife and the other women folks, there are silk stockings, silk umbrellas, lingerie, furs, appliances for the home, jewelry, and many other thoughtfully selected gifts which women cherish. For that youngster, there are good things that all boys gloat over. Footballs, baseballs, and gloves, outfits for tennis, and things for the vigorous, sturdy chap that loves the out-of-doors. For his quieter sister, we have just the type of dolls and books that she will love and cherish. Silverware, luggage, pearls, clothing, electrical, appliances, toys, all are here, at prices surprisingly low. And if you make your selections now while our stock is at its best, they'll be shipped the very day your order is received. Take this letter and booklet home with you this evening. Better still, go over it right now. You will be amazed how quickly you will find exactly the Christmas presents that will mean most to your relatives and friends. And you will be even more amazed at how much money you can save. Everything comes on free trial. Keep each article a full week. Examine it for quality and value. Satisfy yourself that it is just the gift for the friend you have in mind. Then decide. Send back any article you don't care for. You'll not be out one penny. Now, don't file this away to think over. There's nothing to puzzle about because you don't have to send one penny or promise anything, except that you will send the gifts back in a week if you don't like them. That's easy, isn't it? By using the enclosed order form, you kill two birds with one fountain pen. You save a good many dollars on your Christmas gifts, and you're relieved of all that bothersome burden of Christmas shopping in stores. Where's that pen? That ended the sale for the year. It changed the figures on the balance sheet from $80,000 in the red on June 1st to $121,000 net profit December 31. And it proved a number of things, among them that the best mail order buyer is one who has already bought other products by mail, and that it is ideas that sell goods, not mere descriptions of the goods themselves. Ideas are the only things that count, and the idea that will sell vast numbers of books can be used just as effectively in selling raincoats or traveling bags or overcoats or shirts. Those were the important things we got out of that 7-month sale, and they were the factors responsible for the big strides we made in the next 2 years. And that is the end of Chapter 16. If you would like to grab your copy of the Robert Collier letter book, click the link in the description and you will find it available in German, Spanish, and French, alongside many other fundamental marketing books. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more direct response content. See you in the next one.